Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, which restaurant is using OnlyFans in a surprising way to try to save their business?
Also, Hudson's Valentine's Day chocolate secret has the ladies in a frenzy. And more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
What are you doing this weekend? Let us know at 8772 RadioU. Isaiah, you got anything planned?
Going to some sporting events.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Going to a college lacrosse game.
Are you playing?
I am not playing.
You coaching?
I am not coaching.
Just for fun.
I am just attending.
Just for fun, you're going to a college lacrosse game.
I am just in attendance. But
Nice.
It will be fun.
Anything else?
I think some of my friends are smoking a brisket tomorrow.
I didn't know where that sentence was going.
Oh, well.
Hey, that's one of the best places it can go, though. With
Exactly.
briskets.
So we're smoking a brisket tomorrow after the lacrosse game.
Lacrosse and brisket.
And that sounds nice. I mean, I
Yeah.
think Duke and North Carolina play tomorrow in basketball. So
Oh, do
apparently,
they?
Apparently. So I guess that's why we're smoking the brisket. It seems like we just want an excuse to smoke the brisket.
Yeah, those two go to get hand in hand.
When I got that text yesterday that was like, hey, do you want to come over for the Duke UNC game to smoke this brisket? I was like, well, we're not really Duke or North Carolina fans or that big of college basketball fans, but it's like we need an excuse.
Yeah.
For this brisket, I'll do it.
You don't need an excuse for brisket.
That's what I thought too. You could have just invited me over.
If you just say to somebody, I'm smoking a brisket, that is the excuse.
You didn't
That's
have
the
to try to
excuse for
sway
other
me.
things.
Yeah, you didn't need to sway me with the Duke UNC game. That wasn't really gonna swing my needle.
Yeah.
The brisket was enough.
Yeah. My weekend, I know one thing I'm doing. I think me and my wife, I'll probably get together with my parents and do something. We'll do something fun, but I haven't found out what that is yet. But I also know this weekend is going to be, and this is crazy, taking down Christmas decorations.
What month is it? It's February.
It is February.
Do your neighbors hate you?
No. My neighbors have their Christmas decorations up too.
No.
They do.
How many of them? Multiple?
In walking distance from my house, there are at least I would say 5 houses. I mean, and my next door neighbors, it's a duplex. We both have our Christmas decorations.
You guys
up.
are just enabling each other.
Yeah.
Like, this behavior is okay.
I'm not alone. I also, this, I go walking around the RadioU studios, as in around the neighborhood, around the RadioU studios. I'd say about 1 out of every 20 houses still has their Christmas decorations up.
So you're one of them.
Yeah, but that's going to change this weekend. But this, the weather's been bad. The weather's been bad. It's been either cold or rainy. And so finally this weekend, it's a nice weekend. There's finally enough time. And I bet you right now it's 1 in 20 houses have their lights up. After this weekend, it'll probably be 1 out of 100 because it's finally nice.
So let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
If your lights are up after this weekend, now is that actually bad? Since it's going to be nice out. You have no excuse.
Yeah, I think this is the real. I mean, obviously, normally the cutoff would be much before now, but
yes,
after this weekend,
for people like you,
for
people like me, this happened a long time ago. For people like you, it's still going.
You never had any up.
Exactly, that's how you do it. That's how you ensure you don't have them up too long.
Yeah, or you just leave them up all the time. If I don't take them down this weekend, that's what's happening.
You're just leaving them up.
I mean, and it's real sad because it's like a deflated Snoopy out there. He's the one. He needed to dry out. Wait
a minute.
Can't have him getting all moldy.
I was imagining just lights. You're telling me that you have yard decorations still up?
Yes.
There's Santa in your yard.
Do. There's an inflatable Snoopy. He's not inflated, though. So he's just deflated there.
He's just blowing in the
wind.
wind.
On the ground. Yes.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
that's bad.
Hey, my neighbors, I'm just going to say whatever you say to me bounces off me and sticks to my neighbors because they have 5 inflatables.
Inflatables in the yard
haven't
still?
been inflated for 3 weeks.
Now, that's just dirty. You can't have inflatables in your yard now.
They're wet.
If it was just lights can be understandable for a while, especially if they're white lights.
Yeah, nobody even
if they're
really
not colored,
noticed.
that's fine. Inflatables are crazy. But I'm glad that you're taking the step to get rid of them.
Yep, this weekend.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram @RadioU Riot.
I don't know if it's Andrea. How would you say it?
I would say Andrea.
Andrea.
Or is it Andrea? There's another one.
Andrea. She texted in. She said, Impressive job walking that Riot Extra Politics episode minefield. She says we tiptoed through it without stubbing our toe.
That's our specialty.
Yeah.
Tiptoeing, baby.
That's right. So
we
take it.
tiptoe around.
Don't just take it from us. Take it from Andrea. Andrea. Check out the Worst of the Riot Extra. Now, talking about a minefield, check this out. Restaurants still struggling, whether it's because of COVID from back in the day still rearing its head, or whether it's inflation, whether it's having a hard time finding workers. It all comes together to some restaurants are still having a hard time and are having to get creative. Like this ramen restaurant, Ninja Ramen in Houston, that, a part of a big plan to make sure the restaurant stays viable, has launched its own OnlyFans account.
What did he say?
OnlyFans?
Yeah. It's a ramen restaurant, and so they're asking people to send hot nudes.
Oh, like noodles.
Yeah, you got it.
And they thought that was a good idea.
They're pretty clever. Pretty clever.
How's that going?
Owner Christopher Wang said, I mean, it looks
What
like...
did he say?
Listen, the owner Christopher Wang has put out a whole big plan, like a several-step plan to make sure the Ninja Ramen stays viable, is able to stay in business, stay afloat into 2025 and beyond, because they've been struggling. And one of the steps was an OnlyFans account for the restaurant. And I, against my better judgment, clicked on it because I was like, is this like a joke? Because you don't have to, like, you can post many different things on OnlyFans, right?
You can post, food, cooking. It's like just any paywall. It's just a paywall.
When he's asking customers to send hot nudes, spelled like noodles, of them like eating ramen, I don't know if he actually is this just like pictures of themselves at the restaurant, or are they literally trying to get people to send naked pictures?
No chance.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Christopher
right?
Wang would never want that.
But I did click on the OnlyFans, and you have to like subscribe, of course. And
How much is it, by the way?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't go that far.
It's got to be like $1.
But I feel like you don't have to have everything behind the paywall, right? On OnlyFans.
You can have some things there to kind of like show what you're showing.
Yeah.
So if it's noodles, then you could have a couple like cups of noodles there that are free to see.
All of the pictures on there, and I think there's 3, are locked. So it's still a mystery to me if they're actually trying to like combine an OnlyFans of naked people eating ramen noodles.
It seems like bad business. Nobody would want to go there.
Is this the Hooters of the noodle world, or is it just all a big joke? I actually don't know. And I'm not going to subscribe to find out.
No, I'm not willing to pay $3.
No, I'm not willing to pay any amount of money.
No, I would say I'll skip out on the noodle nudes.
But
not
it is,
for me.
Whether it's real naked nudes or whether it's noodle nudes, either way, I feel that if you're a restaurant turning to OnlyFans to try to keep you afloat, I hate to say it, but I feel like you might have other issues. And I don't know.
This is not your saving grace here, Christopher.
Long term is really going to work.
Like, imagine the meeting in which that he brought this up. Was this his idea? Like, there's no chance that he sat down in a meeting with some of his workers and he says, you know what?
Yeah.
We've been kind of struggling, but I've got the thing that's going to save us. We're going to start an OnlyFans.
When you hit OnlyFans, that, for most people, I feel like that's the last resort.
Yeah, that seems like
especially if you're a restaurant.
It seems that maybe I think you'd be better off. You shouldn't start an OnlyFans. If anything, you should do people eating noodles. Like obviously you're using the chopsticks or whatever you're using, right? Mm-hmm. But instead of using your hands, you use your feet and you post that. A good old crossover.
I'm not going to endorse that either, but you get some wild people coming into your restaurant. That's all I can say.
Can you imagine the people that are walking through that door? Actually, imagine the people that are subscribing to this.
Yeah. Very, very hopeful people.
Yeah, you have to think so. Or people that love noodles.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
Go ahead and chime in on this one. I've got a tweet that went viral. It's by the Spice X Queen. This has thousands and thousands of retweets and likes. or whatever they call them on X now. She just says, what biblical story/situation do you wish you could have seen play out in person? And obviously, with all the retweets and replies, some great answers. But how well do you know your Bible? Oh, any stories you remember that might be actually entertaining to watch in real life? Let us know.
The comments are hilarious.
Yeah. 8772 Radio U. Chime in with your thoughts. Obviously, the top one that I like is seeing people say, if you could see David and Goliath now, and if you could take bets on it, you'd make a killing.
Like, imagine being in the audience when he just pulls out the slingshot.
Yeah.
Everyone would be snickering.
Yeah.
I think. It is a slingshot.
Yeah.
That's what you brought to the fight. Usually you would lean like a knife, a gun.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, there were no guns, so he's leaning slingshots.
Still.
There had to have been a dagger.
There wasn't even like a bow and arrow or anything.
Slingshot.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, David, I guess today's the day you go.
It does. It does make me think that if we're listening at Bible stories I want to see in real life, there's a lot I wouldn't want to see, and David and Goliath might be one of them because it involves somebody dying. And I've never seen anybody die, and I don't know if I want to. But that said, and it'd be weird to make money off of somebody dying, but nevertheless would be an advantage to being from the future.
Some of the other good ones. I wish I was there when Jesus multiplied the bread, because I would have loved some of that bread.
All that bread and fish.
Oh, the bread. I love some
Unlimited
bread.
fish. Bottomless fish.
You talk about unlimited breadsticks at Olive Garden. This is a whole nother level.
That's right.
What about this one?
It's like being a Red Lobster.
Yeah, it is. I like the one, me eavesdropping on Adam and Eve getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden.
The drama.
You can't imagine that conversation.
Yeah.
That couldn't have went well. I told you not to do one thing.
Yeah, literally one thing.
We told you one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have followed that one rule. Literally anything else you could have done.
You think about God, like he's not normally mad, but of all the times he could have been mad.
Oh, you gotta be.
That's gotta be one of the top.
That's gotta be one of the top ones. Yeah.
There wasn't
you
even
guys.
10 commandments yet. There was one rule, and you couldn't follow it.
I'm just kind of testing.
It was a fruit.
Yeah. I'm testing things out.
Yeah.
You're the very first ones here. I'm trying to get a whole feel for how you guys are going to be acting. You guys are setting a horrible precedent for what's to come. A snake.
That's right.
You knew that a snake, you know how devilish a snake seems? There's no creature you find in the woods that seems more dangerous than a snake.
You have to imagine
Slimy
that's
snake.
The first creature they ever saw that did that thing with its tongue.
Yes. Right away, you know that's a red flag.
Yeah, I gotta listen to this
You
thing.
can't trust that guy.
No.
Immediate no.
Yeah. 8772 Radio U. I'm seeing some texts come in. What is a Bible story you wish you could have seen play out in real life? How well do you remember your Bible stories? There's some wild ones. There's some lesser known Bible stories that would be insane to see. Let us know what you're thinking. We'll see some more of the responses coming up next.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
Got a question here based off a viral tweet by the Spice X Queen. It's got thousands of retweets, quote tweets, replies. Which Bible story / situation do you wish you could have seen and witnessed firsthand? Some great responses. Bailey says, do you remember this Bible story? When Jesus cast the demons out of the guy, I don't remember his actual name, but they called him Legion because he had so many demons in him. And he cast them into the flock of pigs, and then the pigs throw themselves off a cliff.
Not a big pig fan.
Yeah, he must really hate pigs. Really hate pigs. I feel like that'd be scary, actually.
Yeah, it seems a little scary.
Seeing one demon is enough. Seeing all of them.
Yeah.
But then again, you'd have Jesus there to protect you. So Charity says, I just want to see Jesus getting snippy with the Pharisees and Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin, one of my favorite words in the Bible.
A snippy Jesus.
Yeah,
I mean, that's got to be a good side.
Glenn says Acts 7. You can actually go read this one. He's giving you the reference point. Acts 7. Stephen's last powerful sermon to 71 haters, and then see Jesus stand as they all rush in and kill him.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah, hear me out, Glenn. I like the sermon part. You're talking about a guy getting murdered. I don't want to witness that.
That's a tough one.
And a believer. And a believer, Glenn. It is powerful, though.
It is powerful.
Justin says, parting of the Red Sea and Jesus coming out of the tomb. Obviously.
I mean, come on.
That's obvious.
The champ is here.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you imagine?
What kind of walkout music?
Imagine being there. If I could place myself there, I would have had a boombox.
Yeah.
With some sort of cool walkout song.
But how could you pick a song?
What song?
What song would it have to be?
I mean, right off the rip, you think of a million different songs of him walking out.
Guess who's back?
Coming in hot.
Coming in hot. That's right.
Ooh.
I also like this one. Not Jonah being swallowed by the whale, though that'd be cool. But Jonah trying to explain to his wife afterwards where he'd been the whole time.
Jonah, where were you?
You expect me to believe that? You expect me?
A whale?
Yeah.
A whale?
That was the biggest of Jonah's worries. After all.
Yeah, eavesdropping on so many of these conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, the donkey arguing with Balaam. That'd be a good one. I also think this is a good one. I would have liked to be involved at the very end, although it does eventually get to murder, but of the Jericho thing.
You can take Glenn with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually two of you.
Think about how good it would feel, though. You've been walking around the walls of Jericho for 7 days, right? That's how long they did it. And then Joshua and his men. And then the wall. And they've been making fun of you, those Jerichoians.
Mm-hmm.
And then the walls fall down. Come on. Come on. How good would you feel? How vindicated?
I also think just any time that Jesus helps someone who is paralyzed, imagine the look on their face after they're just able to walk.
Yeah.
Like, imagine talking to that guy when he goes home.
That does feel like the right answer.
Right?
Because that's just a happy moment. It doesn't get happier than that.
Who there in that group of people isn't like, well, also I think like Jesus walking on water.
Yeah.
You're like him.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Like anybody who was like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah.
You see him just striding across the Pacific. You see him just walking along on Lake Erie. You're like, all right. You see him walking in any pond, lake, anywhere. He steps on water and you're like, okay. Well,
Yeah.
got it. Move along.
Aaron says the story of Esther would love to see her changing Xerxes' opinion on the Jewish people. That was a long process. That's an interesting story too. That's a good one. What else do we got? Kristen said, remember, the pigs were unclean to the Jewish people up to that point in the Bible when they got thrown off the cliff.
And we're not like opposing pigs being thrown off a cliff.
No, it's just a wild thing to want to see.
It is like,
I mean, it would be cool.
Of everything,
Yeah.
There's a lot of options. Aaron said, and seriously, Adam and Eve, you had one job. I know. That one still.
Yeah.
Yet again, that would be hilarious.
You have to wonder how things would be different, too.
Oh, yeah.
If they
would have gotten off on the right foot?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'd like partying at the Red Sea as well that we kind of skipped over with Justin.
Yeah, that really would be.
Another one. Similar for me, like walking on water. When you see that happen, you're like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah. Just, I mean, really any of it to me, as long as I don't have to actually see the killing part. Because I think.
I'm not good with blood.
Yeah.
Or death.
Like movies is one thing, but like real life, people dying.
I've never seen someone
even if they
be killed in
are the
person.
worst.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to witness that.
I would rather see water be turned into wine or unlimited breadsticks.
Yeah, definitely.
Jesus walk on water. Those are some of my top ones.
There's never been a can of worms they didn't open. The Riot, Radio U.
Now, Isaiah, do you consider Disney to be a family company?
It feels like if they're not a family company, what are they? What demographic are they serving?
Yeah. Well, I thought so too. I thought Disney cared about families. I have to question that now at this point because Disney changing their subscription agreement in an email that was sent out to many of their subscribers yesterday. You may have seen this. They are adding limitations on sharing your accounts outside of your household and explaining how Disney, access your compliance with these limitations.
So go ahead and ring that in a way for me that maybe I'll be able to get a little more from.
They're cutting down on password sharing.
Quite the switcheroo.
Yeah, that's right. And that's for Disney Plus. And you have to assume that's going to be your Hulu accounts, your ESPN Plus accounts as well. They say you may not share your subscription outside your household. And you may be wondering, how do they define household? They say the collection of devices associated with your primary personal residence that are used by the individuals who reside therein.
So if it ain't at the original house, you're in trouble.
If it's not under one roof, you're done for.
No! No!
And you might be wondering too, because I will admit, me and my family share a Disney Plus account, Hulu and ESPN Plus.
Naughty boy.
I saw these headlines coming out yesterday, and yet somehow I used Disney Plus to watch Mrs. Doubtfire last night. And that is because they are not implementing this for existing subscribers until March 14th. But for new subscribers, this took effect on January 25th.
So if I got Disney Plus going tomorrow, if I subscribed and I tried to share it outside, I could be terminated. But if my family and I have had it for months, I've got another month and 13 days.
Yes.
12 days.
Correct. It's accurate.
I will tell you this much. I mean, obviously, I do not pay for my own Disney Plus.
Yeah.
My mom and dad have it. My whole family has it. So we all use it. Just my family of 5. If they terminate our Disney Plus, I mean, a myriad of phone calls they'll receive. I'll tell you who'd be the most upset. My younger brother. Woo! You don't want to deal with him.
Yeah.
He is not going to be a big Disney guy.
They're going to be banking on, though, that 1 out of 5 of you is going to restart it. But it's crazy to me. It's one thing if they want to cut everybody off. If they say that they have language in there, and who knows if they'll implement it, but they can terminate accounts if they find out that you're password sharing. If they terminate an account, you think I'm going back to them?
No
How
chance,
good
right?
would something on Disney Plus have to be for me to be like, you know what, actually, let me restart. They just canceled my account out of the blue because my brother was watching something on it. Let me restart it up. Let bygones be bygones.
You can't go. That's like if a girl breaks up with you and then you grovel until she takes you back. You just can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not groveling. I'm going to call. I'm going to call and be like, why in the heck did you terminate me? And I'll give them the chance to unterminate me.
Yeah.
But I'm not going out of my way to set up another account.
I hate this. I hate this so much. Who are they to say, household, you have to live under the same roof? What business is it of theirs if me and my siblings want to share a Disney account?
Yeah, I would say no good. Per usual, I'm just getting sick and tired. I'm getting sick and tired of it. The greed. I'm done with it.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Now, Valentine's Day hasn't gotten here yet. That's not stopping Costco from skipping ahead. They're already selling Easter stuff, including, tell me if you think this is too much, a 2-foot-tall chocolate bunny.
I mean, that's clearly too much.
It's too much, and it's a lot now. Maybe the reason they started selling it now is because you'd have to start eating it now to have it done by Easter.
I think like the chocolate, are you a fan? This one's $70 as well, so that's the only chocolate you're getting. Are you a fan of the chocolate bunnies?
It's
on Easter?
Not really my favorite. No, a lot of the candy that's like tailor-made for Easter is not a go-to candy for me, and that includes chocolate bunnies because either they're bland because it's just plain chocolate, or it's like if they have like, let's say, peanut butter in it or something, it's not the best peanut butter because it's not a Reese's peanut butter bunny. So it's just not. I just don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the best.
Yeah, I'm not so much for the chocolate bunnies, but they do feel special when you get one. But I don't usually even end up eating them.
Yeah. Do you think this 2-foot-tall chocolate bunny that they're selling at Costco? Do you think it's solid 2 feet of solid chocolate, or is it one of those bunnies that's hollow inside?
It's hollow. I saw the video.
Oh, it's got to be hollow.
It's
okay.
hollow. Yeah, I saw.
So that's still a wild amount of chocolate, but it's not as crazy. Now, who do you get this for? This is almost as tall as a child. You can't get them an Easter bunny. It's the same size.
You're not getting a kid this.
No.
Because then they're going to eat it all.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do you have to deal with?
Or
the kid.
And you can't get this for you have 3 children. You can't give them a 2 foot tall chocolate bunny and be like, there you go. Because you think about your siblings. Would you have shared equally?
We all got our own basket.
You just would have fought. You just would have fought over it. Even though it's 2 feet, it's more than enough. You still would have fought over it.
And
I want the nose.
Fight so much.
I want the ears.
I want the foot.
Yeah.
If they're smart, they'll take the foot. Lucky foot.
That's the lucky part.
But realistically, you want the ears. That's what you want.
You think that's the best part?
I think that's the part that you would be most likely to try to eat. You want a bite of the ear. Nobody wants a bite of the foot.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably your girlfriend that you just started dating a month ago.
Mm-hmm, trying to really make a
show
big
her.
bang there.
So let's move to Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Is there a specific chocolatey gift on Valentine's Day that you think is superior? Because there's obviously not even chocolate, just a candy gift. Because there's obviously those things that you can buy that are they have the flowers that are candy, that have them in there. It has the vase type deal, or you could lean with a typical heart-shaped chocolate box. And then there's just a myriad of things.
I've found that when it comes to Valentine's chocolate, less is more. And what I mean is, for adults, how much chocolate does your girlfriend, does your wife, how much does she really want? It's not going to be as fun if she's still got chocolate left over 2 weeks after Valentine's Day. I don't think. So what I found is you get I would find the best truffle place in town. And then you get 6 of the really pretty
good
ones that are so pretty.
Yeah.
They're eye-popping, and they taste good, and they're different flavors, so it's kind of fun. It's oh, what's this? It's orange, but it's a chocolate. It looks like a galaxy, that kind of thing. That's the route I've always gone.
See, I love the assorted boxes of chocolates. Obviously, I'm not going to get one of those, but I love being able to pick out which one I want to eat. You'll never eat them all because obviously there's some coconut ones in there that you're tossing to the side. Maybe there's a couple dark chocolates in there. I'm not touching those. But you pick out the ones that you like, you eat those. The rest are going to go to the wayside. I think this year, you know what my plan might be? I'm thinking chocolate strawberries.
It's your first Valentine's together. You got to bring your A game. Chocolate strawberries.
Chocolate strawberries.
That's
mainly
smart.
Because I want to.
Hudson is the maple syrup, and Isaiah is the power protein flapjack. This is The Riot on RadioU.
Now, I have here possibly the best tip you can possibly have if you're single and you want to date for Valentine's Day or otherwise. This is a new study from Washington.
This better be good.
University. The top thing you can do to make your dating profile more appealing, more attractive, is to have a sense of purpose.
A sense of purpose?
Yeah.
In your life?
Yeah. You have to have a clear, defined. This is probably, actually, if you think about it, this isn't just good for dating. This is good for everything. You need to have a purpose. You need to figure out what you're aiming for. What are you heading for? Don't just be aimless.
Who are you?
Who actually are you? Look yourself in the mirror and say, what am I about? And that you find your purpose. This new study from Washington University found that individuals with a clear sense of purpose in life are perceived as more romantically attractive compared to those without a defined purpose. They also found profiles with a demonstrated specific sense of purpose were rated higher in attractiveness, especially when the viewer shared the same purpose orientation. Some of the options of purpose that they were using: pro-social, relationship, financial, or creative.
Got it. So kind of knowing which direction you're going that way.
Yeah.
Financially driven.
Yeah. Basically just
career driven.
Mm-hmm.
Relationship. Okay.
Yeah.
I could see this being a plus. I don't hate this.
Mm-hmm. And then they did say, though, that although generally profiles with a specific sense of purpose were more attractive, the ones where finance was the specific purpose were less attractive than the other options of purpose.
Well, at least if finance is your thing,
Yeah,
you'll have lots of money.
that's right.
No lady, though.
And that is
No one to share
that
it with.
can be attractive itself.
Exactly. You can work your way around that.
But I think these numbers make a lot of sense. These findings make a lot of sense. And so now it's just yourself looking in the mirror and saying, what is my purpose and how do I express that clearly on my dating? But you're like Barbie. You're like in the Barbie movie. You got to figure out, what are you made for?
See, and I think this is important and very undervalued when you're going on dates and things like that. Because if you figured out what you're doing, your day-to-day life, if you have a goal, whether it's you really want to focus on your career or making money or whatever your grind is, there's a couple things that you're going to be less likely to do. When you go on the date, you're going to be less likely to be boring because you have something to talk about.
Yep.
They're going to say, what do you like to do? What is your hobbies? Things like that. And you'll probably have things to say because you figured out what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. You probably have like a routine that you're in that has you working on these things. And another big part of this is you have your own things going on. Sometimes people get kind of pushed away when someone has nothing going on.
Yep.
It feels like they're just reaching out to them constantly. If you feel very needy type, that can be a big push away early on, like if you don't have your own stuff to focus on. And that'll also make it won't be the end of the world if everything doesn't work out in these relationships.
So many positive. It does. It feels like I'm surprised that that relationship is one of the purposes that actually, that actually is considered attractive, because to me, I would actually think if relationship is your top goal, you might be more likely to be clingy or to be a little desperate. But if you really are truly focused on a relationship, I guess that is different than just kind of being desperate. I mean, there's different levels of it. But you're right, though, that having other stuff going on will make you, it should make you less clingy and less needy and more interesting for sure.
Lots of good stuff to take away here. Pretty much figure yourself out before you try to go hang out with somebody else.
That's right.
Hudson is the maple syrup, and Isaiah is the power protein flapjack. This is The Riot on Radio U.
We had the song Hunt Me Down by GLADDEN in the Battle of the Buzz recently. It did really well. It won.
It did win.
And so that's always a good sign. And so now today we've got the new song from GLADDEN, Hunt Me Down, adding it to the Radio U playlist. And to celebrate the occasion, GLADDEN himself is with us. Good morning, GLADDEN.
First off, I appreciate that interview or the intro. That was awesome. I appreciate it. But it's good to be here. You're coming live out of my studio. So this is set up in my house and fun little vibe we have here. But it's great to be talking with you today.
Yeah, I was noticing it seems very tropical in your studio. Where do you know where that background is taken from? Your studio background you've got there?
I do not. I think it's a random website that I found it on. But I am probably 3 to 4 hours from the beach here in South Carolina, and I still have that constant beach mindset all the time. So figured I'd throw it in the studio and get some good vibes while I make music.
Yes, I wanted to ask about that. So you're from South Carolina, and you do seem to have, like, I get the beach vibe from a lot of what you do. Tell us more about the studio and why you decided, because I saw on Instagram you just customized it the way you did. What was the thought process behind that?
So I am a kid at heart. So thankfully, my wife of 7.5 years is very patient with me, and she allowed me to kind of create this vibe in one of her beautiful, clean rooms in the house and just let me turn it into my own space. But so I grew up, my parents were very, they listened to a lot of oldies. And so they were very diverse in the music I grew up on. And so Beach Boys were a huge impact growing up. So just that constant, beach music, even shag stuff and oldies, all the way to like disco, 60s, 70s music. And so very diverse growing up, but I think the beach resonated with me the most. So that's kind of how I have the vibe in my studio, and it helps me to keep that similar mindset when I write my own songs.
Yeah, I've been seeing on like a lot of your social media and stuff, and even some of our listeners have been commenting about how you kind of got that like country twang to you. I can hear it in your voice. The little bit of like Southern. That's what we were talking about before. We were like, where is he from? Like he has all this tropical stuff. Like, is he from the South? Is he from like the West? Because his vibe is like kind of like West and tropical. I mean, I can't really tell where this guy's from, but he does have like a little bit of like a country twang, which I love in the music.
Yep. So when I talk, people say I sound Southern. I actually just dropped a Instagram video yesterday making fun of my accent. But yeah, people say I sound very Southern, and to me, I feel like I do not have an accent around the extra Southern accents in these parts. But so country music is really big in this area. They have the Country Music Fest in Myrtle Beach every year, I believe, and I like country music. I just really don't create many country songs. I have a few that I'm sitting on, but maybe we'll never.
Hey, our listeners are probably okay with that.
Yeah,
they like what you're putting out now, I think. And they definitely love your new song, Hunt Me Down. They've heard it a couple times on here on the Battle of the Buzz. And a lot of our listeners are hearing you for like the very first time ever. And so I want you to kind of have an opportunity for some of these people that never heard you before. If you had to have them listen to one more of your songs that you've already put out, which one would you choose?
Oh, that's tough right there. I have a lot of really fun, different vibes out. I try to be very diverse. Like I said, with my childhood, very diverse growing up with music. And so I try to keep each song different from the other if possible. I do know you have a big rock pull in your group as well, rock and rap. Is that like your biggest? So I would say like punk rock wise, Rendezvous is probably one of my favorites I've dropped. And then rap wise, Clout, I just came out with a few months ago. And also we'll be dropping another rap here in about a month or so that I'm really excited about. So just all over the place, but my music is all over all the streaming platforms. So if you don't listen to it on RadioU, make sure to check it out on just Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, all the above. But I pretty much have only released singles to this point. So there's a huge catalog of music, but I've made a playlist that has all my songs on it. So
you got it. Rendezvous, Clout. I mean, he said, I got punk rock, I got rap. It sounds like everything that everybody here is really enjoying.
Yeah, I think so. And for GLADDEN too, you're still like a fairly new artist. That's a good time to get in. I don't like when there's a TV show and you find out about it, and then it's like, oh, there's 8 seasons you need to go back and look at. For GLADDEN, there's enough songs you can have a good playlist, but it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh no, I have to go back and listen to 8 albums of this guy to really get to know who he is. It's just a few songs, and then boom, you're already in and ready to go.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out. So Matthew Parker is a good buddy of mine. He's actually here in the upstate as well of South Carolina. And I've done 2 collabs with him, and they're like a pop meets rock vibe on Hideaway. And that's a really good song to listen to as well. And then also Lay Low I did with him is a pop meets, Latin vibes. Mm-hmm. So that's very interesting. So there's all kind of different types of songs out there. So
nice. We love Matthew Parker here. Play him on RadioU Fusion. I know a lot of fans here at RadioU. Let me ask you, GLADDEN, your music career, like how long ago did you get started actually, would you say?
Oh boy. So we're not going to say my age, but about a little over 20 years ago is when I first started writing.
And so in your now 2-decade music career, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment so far?
I would say staying true to who I am as a Christian and as an artist. I've had a lot of opportunities for, other collabs and have just artists that kind of go against my values. And I've stayed true to who I am throughout those 20 years, but really not until the last 3 have I been pushing this artist mindset of trying to turn this into a living. So really excited for what's ahead. But yeah, I would say staying true to who I am. And also the music that I create now is I searched for probably a decade and a half for my sound. So I'm very excited that I've found a sound that is mine, that's kind of unique to who I am. So yeah, like I said, really excited for what's ahead.
I love that. Talking about what's ahead, I like to ask this to a lot of artists, especially the first time we get to talk to them. What's on your music career bucket list then?
Oh man. I do not have specifics per se. Just keep creating really good music, and hopefully people out there start resonating with it, and I can grow a fan base. I will say Nick D is a big inspiration for me. He big in the independent music world, and he and Connor Price have kind of set a standard for streaming and getting people to stream your music and turn that into an income for your family. So that would be a goal of mine. I don't really have an exact, number to hit, but side note, my wife and I are pregnant, and she's a school teacher.
Congratulations.
So thank you. But yeah, throwing that in there because she is a school teacher, and the goal would be to get this thing to grow where she doesn't have to go back to work once we have our child. And that would be really cool to be able to support her with this as well. So,
well, that's awesome. Well, now everybody definitely needs to go and stream more Gladden. Now, I'll tell you though, this is right, Gladden, that this new song "Hunt Me Down" doesn't come out on streaming platforms till next week, but we've got it here now on RadioU. But you gotta pre-save it, get ready because you gotta stream Gladden, help him out, help him and his pregnant wife.
Absolutely, especially right next to Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
I hope you're ready.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And that shout out to RadioU for being first out there with the song. This is probably one of my, if not my favorite song I've ever dropped, and really fun, cool vibe that kind of points us back to God's love. So I'm excited.
I love that. We're excited too. People have really been loving it already, and let's hear it now. Thanks, Gladden, for spending some time with us.
Hudson is the maple syrup, and Isaiah is the power protein flapjack. This is The Riot on RadioU.
Or maybe it was this week. Recently, we talked about a woman that was trapped in a ski lift, a gondola, overnight. Thought that's got to be one of the top worst places to be trapped overnight. It's a gondola, a ski lift. I feel like this has to be one of the top best, and that is trapped in a movie theater overnight. Right?
How's that even possible?
This took place in Brazil, where moviegoers that had gone to see the new movie, the new Oscar contender, The Holdovers, very good movie, by the way. Ironically, they were locked in to the movie theater because it was a late night screening. There was like 40-ish people, and the movie theater workers didn't realize there was still one more movie going on for some reason. And so they locked up, and there's like a gate. Like, I don't know if it was in town or something, so they had to like lock the gate shut.
The doors are locked, and then there's a thing that comes down over top of it to really lock them in.
And
a double lock.
They were really locked in, and so after the movie ended, these unsuspecting moviegoers realize we have no way out of this movie theater, and it's late at night, and so they had to like shout through the bars that had locked them in to try to get somebody to let them out.
And people on the street can see them in there.
Yeah.
That's the wild part. And so it's not like, and they all have phones. There's like recording and things like that. The video's hilarious because there's a guy in the front that's like explaining the situation. And then there's this older guy in the background in this yellow jacket. This has got to be the best thing that's happened to this guy in months. He's like waving to everybody. He's laughing his butt off. He's so happy to be in this moment, it seems.
And there's enough people out on the street. It's not like it could have been that late either, right? Like you can see
There's tons of people out there.
It's like, why were the movie theater workers in such a rush to get out of there? It's probably like 9:30. They're
Well,
like,
it's
we had
probably
to
like
get home.
It was probably like a Friday night, and they were like, you know what? This is the last movie. I'm leaving here early. Like, immediately, my question is, there's no way they were actually kept there overnight, though.
No, they did eventually get, it wasn't the movie theater workers, I believe. I think it was...
What, the police? You just
I
call?
think the police or the firefighters or something had to get them out, had to like unlock or break the lock.
You think
let 'em
somebody
out.
was fired?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, somebody making probably Brazilian minimum wage anyways, probably.
They were like, what were you doing?
But then again, they're like, if you just don't do this again, this is a pretty simple
Yeah, it
thing.
seems
Pretty
like-
simple ask. Just don't lock people in until all the movies are done.
Because like you look at the screen and it says like, oh, the last one started at 9:30.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half. It ends at 11.
Mm-hmm.
It's 10:30.
They probably
You can't lock the doors yet.
The worker probably left as soon as the last movie started.
True.
They probably weren't even thinking. This probably don't you think though? Like some people, I don't know if any movie theaters offer this, but some people probably actually love to stay overnight, have a sleepover at a movie theater. That sounds fun. I think it would be one of the top places. You stay up late, you watch movies, you make your own popcorn. You got unlimited soda there, like a soda fountain, the freestyle. It sounds like it would be fun.
So you're saying if you're locked in, do you just get as much popcorn as you want?
That's what I was thinking.
Is the candy now free?
I was thinking, especially if it's a Friday night, if I don't have work the next morning, I wouldn't be banging on the gate. I'd just be like, whatever, I'll just wait till tomorrow.
D said we went to a late night showing and the employees locked up and left one time, but they were able to get out because the doors had panic bars.
Yeah. That's also surprising. What if there was a fire?
But then now we're just getting... What if there was a killer in there?
Why would they not have
this
a
would
way?
be the perfect time.
It is crazy they didn't have a way to get out. It's not very
yeah.
safe. Not as very safe
There
at all.
had to be a way. They just couldn't find it.
They couldn't find it.
They
Well, it was
couldn't find
dark,
the
all the
emergency
lights were out.
exit.
Yeah.
The lights were out. The emergency exit had to
They
be
apparently
somewhere.
didn't have light switches either.
But that guy in the yellow jacket, he was willing to stay in there all night. He was having the time of his life.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.